I read that there are 3 levels of compassion in Vajrayana: low, middling, and high. Compassion for all sentient beings, compassion for all phenomena, and objectless compassion, compassion without a focus. Could you talk a little about them?
In Buddhism, we have this listing thing, right? 3 of this, 5 of that, and this and that. So this is one of those lists, right? But in fact, this list, 3 compassions, 3 levels of compassion, has not been stated in a sutric teaching, Buddha's word. But it's most commonly attributed to advanced Mahayana and Vajrayana teaching. Definitely Lamrim Chenmo talks about this. And also Gampopa's jewel ornament of liberation discusses the development of compassion at different stages of realization. So it might be interesting and worthwhile to go over a little bit. Sometimes translated lower, middling, and higher levels of compassion, whatever that means. Perhaps it's a progression of development of compassion. So let's talk a little bit about one by one. These stages represent a synthesis of ideas from Mahayana, Vajrayana traditions in terms of this compassion. The first one is the compassion for all sentient beings. That's considered to be low level. But basically, this is the one we're most familiar with. This is the most accessible and common form. When we talk about compassion, usually this is it. Or this person is a compassionate person, or compassion we use in a common language. In this level, where we recognize the suffering of a sentient being or suffering of somebody, and then wish to alleviate it. In Tibetan word, we have a ninje. Ninje means compassion. In colloquial, we said, ninja. When we see some dogs limping or something on the street, then Tibetan old ladies, ninja means, oh, poor thing, like that. So this is the level common usage of the compassion. It arises from empathy as a human being, natural empathy, and understanding of all beings experience suffering due to ignorance, attachment, and aversion. So that's the kind of Buddhist version of compassion. Of course, in other traditions too, Christianity talks about compassion, no? Perhaps this level, empathy or natural human qualities of thinking for others, trying to fully alleviate the suffering from beings. All sentient beings, including yourself. Compassion toward yourself. Last time we talked about real compassion toward ourselves, renunciation. But anyways, here, number 1, compassion for all sentient beings is focused on the beings themselves, sentient beings themselves. Not only human beings, but all sentient beings. In terms of text, extensively discussed in the fundamental Mahayana text is the Bodhicharyavatara, Shantidevas. Some of you might have read. This is a perfect text to study and cultivate, generate the compassion, really emphasizing the generating bodhicitta based on a compassion and love for all sentient beings. And also Avatansaka Sutra, Flower Garland Sutras. In Chinese and Japanese Buddhism also study and practice Bodhisattva vow to liberate all sentient beings, highlight the universal compassion. Usually His Holiness talks about this to the general public audience. He talks these levels of compassion, like a universal human qualities, which is the compassionate heart. And Lanka Avatara Sutra, that another sutra, talks about, emphasizes compassion as the bodhisattva's response to the suffering of beings trapped in samsara. All these texts are very beautiful expression of compassion. So that's number 1. We can relate to that in general. Number 2 is called compassion for all phenomena. Little satara, nuanced, or the expansive. Before, the focus was only sentient beings and the suffering of the sentient beings. Now we are expanding more general phenomena, and the focus include the broader understanding of phenomena, interdependence, and impermanent nature of all things. This understanding deepens into the nature of phenomena. Then we recognize that not only ascension beings trapped in samsara, but the cause of samsara, causes of samsara. What are they? Conceptualization, dualistic thinking in general. This grasping arises from the mistaken perceptions of inherent nature or inherent existence in all phenomena. So this compassion, second kind of compassion, acknowledges the illusionary nature of the world. All phenomena is empty, yet appear. That's why it's an illusionary nature of the world. For example, this compassion acknowledges that the suffering of sentient beings is rooted in their misunderstanding of reality itself. So this involves deeper understanding of the phenomena and the sentient beings compared to the first compassion. Don't you think? More nuanced and required a deeper understanding. Understanding of the dependent nature of phenomena and the impermanent nature of phenomena, dependent origination, and emptiness. These things are involved. Compassion for all phenomena describes, for example, Nagarjuna's verses on the middle way, Mula Madhyamika Karika. Nagarjuna's teaching on emptiness provides the philosophical foundation for seeing phenomena as interdependent and empty of inherent existence. This understanding should be applied to or supporting the compassion, second kind of compassion. And of course, Prajna Paramita Sutra as well. These texts explore, as you know, how the realization of emptiness transforms compassion into a profound understanding of phenomena as illusionary. Why illusionary? Like, Madhyamika does not negate the conventional reality. Tsongkhapa is the one who really tried to explain, try to describe how conventional world works, while the phenomena is empty of any inherent existence. Then he brought this or emphasized this two things. Conventional reality is interdependence, mutual dependency, relativity, you can say, and illusionary nature. So second kind of compassion need to be backed up or supported by this understanding. Okay, so it's get subtler and more nuanced, required more understanding, deeper. So in general, when we say the compassion, it's just compassion, you are a very compassionate person or something like that in the conventional language level we talk about. But this one requires deeper understanding and subtler. Then finally, the third kind of compassion is called objectless compassion. Mime sewa, mikme. Mik is object or focus or the subject and object, right? So, but this is objectless compassion, non-conceptual. So now, finally, even beyond this second kind of compassion, non-conceptual, boundless, and spontaneous, innate compassion as an expression of ultimate wisdom. So this is the highest level of compassion. When we praise Lama Tsongkhapa, one of the praise is the Mimetsewe, Tekchen Chenreji. He's an emanation of Chenreji, and the Chenreji who goes beyond this object, possesses objectless compassion, which arises from the direct understanding, direct realization of emptiness, the ultimate nature of all phenomena. So here, compassion is not directed toward any specific beings or phenomena, even not the understanding the emptiness itself or the analytical investigation of emptiness through Madhyamika, but flows naturally and spontaneously without dualistic distinction between subject and object. In other words, awakened beings possess this. This is one of the qualities which awakened beings have. Spontaneous compassion. They can't help it, but be compassionate because that's nature, beyond the dualistic concept. This is the kind of true meaning of compassion, in a sense, effortless compassion of a Buddha, like a natural flowing geysers coming from the heart of the Buddhas, arising naturally from their enlightened state, benefiting beings without the conceptual intention, without the I will help. Of course, during the Bodhisattva stage and those training, they have intention, aspirations, he practiced, so eons, right? Long time he practiced. Then this is the culmination of his effort. Now effortless, flow like a wish flowing gels. Natural flow of enlightened qualities. This is the highest form of compassion, emerges from the direct experience of ultimate reality, and is often discussed in Lamrim and advanced Vajrayana, Mahamudra, Uttara Tantra that deal with the Buddha nature, and the tantric text. And Lojong, mind training teaching, focusing on transcending self-centeredness and dualistic view. In other words, these three levels or three progressions, you can say three progressions. It's important understanding these things, beginning with compassion for all sentient beings. So that's the beginning, because even some people, some sentient beings, some human beings hard time cultivating compassion for sentient beings. Right? But innately, they have a compassion in a sense if they are very close. Even those obnoxious politician, for example, he may have love. Actually, he has a compassion toward his son or wife, right? That's the beginning. So then practitioners need to expand this boundary, the object of the boundary, by understanding to include the phenomena and eventually transcend dualistic view. So these are progressions, I think, and the integration. And also I want to mention, these are not exclusive, mutually exclusive. They often overlap in practice. For example, one may cultivate compassion for beings while contemplating the nature of reality, which deepens the compassion. So it's not just a distinctive three things, so we can cultivate all together. But the third one is almost like a result of number one, first and second compassions. Vajrayana teachings emphasize the skillful means of fire and wisdom, encouraging the practitioner to develop compassion at all levels according to their capacities and insight. These are important. Last time I also emphasized this compassion needs to be backed up by wisdom. Otherwise, so exhausted and eventually compassion itself will be fail. This is a kind of elaboration of what I talked last time. We discussed last time, I think. Little more systematic and clear, I think. 3 stages of cultivating compassion that aligned with one's spiritual insight.